Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me into my Shattered Table Guide for Kritika Online. In this video I'm going to be talking about a few things in general, then I'm going to be going over the 5 rooms, give you a quick overview about the mechanics that I know, which might not necessarily be everything, but I did 4 rounds so far, so I did gather a bit of knowledge. And I will also give you 2 pieces of advice straight off the bat before I actually go into mechanics. Anyways, let's go right into it. So before we actually go into mechanics and how the dungeon works, let me say 2 things. First of all, this is an endgame dungeon. This is not something you're going to be clearing with 25,000 CR, 30k CR. This is quite literally strictly for endgame people. The bosses have huge amounts of HP, and pretty much everything's gonna be either one shot or 2-shot you. Like, you're gonna take massive damage from pretty much everything in this dungeon, except for room 3, but anything else, any boss moves, anything else is either gonna 1-shot you or take a good chunk of your HP away. So keep that in mind if you're a new player. Shattered Table is probably not for you, and if you still want to clear it at least 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever rooms, make sure you either ask a guildie with high CR, or, you know, make sure or prepare yourself that you may actually fail and not be able to clear it. The second thing, the footage I'm going to be showing you is what I recorded in my runs. Now, I'm certainly not the best at dodging the boss moves, and the reason is I simply do not care. I have to say and admit that I don't care, because I have enough rest stones left, and I can't be bothered to go nilly-nally and 0 death runs. Like, it's not really a priority for me because I have enough rest stones, which will probably last me for a good 2 months if I keep using that strategy, maybe even more, and not including stones I potentially can farm while intrusion. So some of the moves, some of the positioning, and some of the stuff you'll be seeing is not necessarily the best way to do it, so just that straight off the bat. So let's go about some general information. You have 2 clearances per week. And I say clearances for a reason, because you technically have unlimited attempts. Just keep in mind that every time you enter the Shadow Table, you need a key, which costs you 300,000 gold and 15 violet souls. So keep that in mind if you're gonna try hard and kill that one specific boss, that every time you want to enter, you have to burn 300,000 and 15 souls. Anyways, the reason why I said clearances is because as long as you don't reset your dungeon manually, and the way you do that is by pressing escape and at the very bottom you see the unlimited dungeon button, or you kill the last boss, you do not use any of your attempts per week. Now, the way they designed this dungeon is basically your rewards or your drop chances are linked to your attempt. So basically you have 2 clearances per week. That means you can get a maximum of 10 drops per week. So I killed the first 4 bosses and I got 4 drops already from them. So if I help somebody else and we start from the first boss again, I will not receive rewards for the first 4 bosses anymore. So that means you can technically help your guildies, help your friends, but you're not gonna get rewards. However, as soon as you clear the last boss or reset, your first attempt is going to be burned and you're not going to get it back. And what's even more important, as soon as you kill the last boss twice, you're not going to be able to enter the dungeon at all. So if you killed the boss twice already, you're not going to be able to help your guildies or your friends. Just keep that in mind, that if you want to carry somebody through at least the first 4 floors or something, that you should at least keep your second attempt for that. Other than that, there's one other thing that I want to mention, and that is you have 10 resurrections per run. And this is not per room, but for the whole run. So as soon as you enter, use a key, you have 10 resurrections. However, those resurrections are shared. So if you run in a party, you still only have 10 resurrections left. So even if your teammate dies 8 times, you can only rest another 2 times. So it's not like you both have 10 split resurrection counts, but it's a one shared pool with your party. So keep that in mind, that either you or your teammate continuously dies, that is actually a shared resource and you both can only resurrect a total of 10 times per run. So let's talk about Habour the Berserker. So for Habour, there's only really 3 things, or 4 things. First of all, dodge the fiery rocks that were so constantly falling. Second, the move you're going to be seeing just right now is his charge move, which he announces by, you know, swinging his club. Dodge it because it's probably going to one-shot you. The next move he's going to do right there, which is announced by Habour lifts his legs, is easily dodged by just jumping in the right time. And then there's, I think, 2 other moves. One he's about to do right now, which is his fiery pull, which you can easily outrun. That's all you pretty much have to do. And then he has, I think, 2 normal attack moves, which I don't really pay attention to that much. So, yeah, general strategy for this boss fight is dodge the room-wide AoE, and don't mind me, because this is one of the most vital things in this fight. Positioning is key. Not only did I completely whiff my ultimate draw, I'm standing inside 3 of these rocks and I just instantly die after my iframe is over. So make sure you're positioning yourself properly and do not stand within those rocks. Also, these rocks continue to fall down, so try to not lock yourself into animations. You will see that I'm going to be dying just again because I lock myself into an animation and the rocks keep falling onto me. My iframe protects me, but as soon as the iframe's gone, I'm going to be dead. As you can see, I just got melted again. Anyways, this is pretty much all I can give you about this fight. Sometimes he's vulnerable to ultra breaks, I don't exactly know when. Other than that, dodge his flaming rocks, jump above his room-wide AoE, walk away from his pull. Anything else than that, just fire away, use all that you have, and mow him down. And that's pretty much it for this boss fight. Okay, for the second room, you're fighting a maggot called Lava, or I think it's a maggot, at least I think so. So basically, this room can be explained very briefly. This is a DPS check. There aren't too many mechanics about the actual fight itself. There's a lightning ball that might spawn, which you obviously do not want to touch unless you want to meet the Reaper. Other than that, the boss itself has 1 attack move, but I quite literally have never seen how it actually looks like. So I just got killed by it once, but even after rewatching the footage, I don't exactly know what the hell just hit me. So basically, what happens in this room for me is brains go out, DPS go in. Because this room is filled with poison that constantly chips away at your HP. And there's no way to counteract it other than using iframe skills or potions to heal against the damage done by the poison. So your goal is to just go mayhem on the maggot, fire out of all of your guns, use everything you've got to kill the boss as fast as possible without paying too much attention to the small maggots that are spawning or anything else. Except the lightning ball, you will want to dodge that. The only thing I can give you in terms of advice is, obviously if you don't have enough damage to whittle down the boss without resurrecting, then by all means, use resurrection stones. There's no shame on it. The first time I entered Shadow Table, I blew like 30 rest stones to figure out stuff. So there's nothing wrong with that. The other thing I can give you as a bit of a helpful information, use everything, including your your ultimate skill, your 3-minute cooldown skill. Use every cooldown you have, everything, because the next room is going to allow you to take a breather. So just use fire out of all your guns, wear down the maggot as quickly as possible without paying too much attention to the mechanics. But if you're not able to wear it down without dying, well, by all means, then die once or twice. There's no shame on that, especially if you have lower CR. So for the third room, or third boss, if you want to call it a boss, that is, those are the ghostly tombstones and the gates. Basically all you have to do is whack the red tombstones, do not whack the blue ones, and dodge the lightning ball, and ease peace. And no, I'm not joking, this is quite literally the third room. This is why I said you'll have a breather in this room after the maggot. Because that's all the third room is. It's basically free loot. Because literally, all you have to do is run around and hit the red tombstones. And even if you hit the blue ones, all that's gonna happen is some of these, I don't know, dimensional black knights, whatever, is gonna spawn. But they aren't too much of an issue, so you can deal with them. But for the sake of simplicity, just hit the red ones and you're set. And that's the third room for you. For the fourth boss fight, we have Hokam and his Spirit Sword. Now, one of the 2 dangerous moves he has is the first one you've just seen, where he summons his blue swords. And another one he's going to be using in just a second, which actually causes me to die twice in this fight because I was locked into animations, But other than that, this fight is super straightforward. So you're about to see these well, it's not room at AoE, but these red circles, and if you get hit by them, well, yeah. If you get hit by multiple ones, you're gonna be dead. So the actual mechanic about this boss fight is you can see the sword in the center of the room, which basically acts as a second entity, and you have to take down the sword in time, because once the bar reaches max and you don't kill it before that, it'll actually recover the boss's HP and effectively reset the fight. So you will want to keep the boss, like the optimal setup is to CC the boss, especially as a Doomblade. I could just put my Soul Vortex somewhere around the sword, and that would basically leave the boss always close to the sword, and once the sword resets or respawns, you're just automatically hitting the sword. There was a super lucky dodge by me with ultimate draw. And yeah, as I said, this is pretty much all about the fight. You have a DPS check again, you have to kill the sword in time, because if you do not kill the sword in time, the boss fight will reset, and you're basically back at the start. Right, going into the last room, Huta, the Ghost Knight. The fight always starts with him jumping up in the air, so be prepared to dodge that one. Other than that, your next step is to get him below 6,000 HP bars if you're in a party, because that'll trigger his second phase, and you have to trigger it in order to kill him, because he will heal himself to full HP upon entering it. You can pretty much spot it once he runs back to this tombstone thingy, pillar, and jumps onto his horse. This is the final phase of the battle. Now, you have, I think it's 4 minutes time to kill Hota before he goes berserk, and unlike the other two DPS check rooms, if you fail to kill him within those 4 minutes, you're gonna be screwed. He's gonna turn berserk, he's gonna heal up so fast, he's gonna change moveset, he's gonna get buffed. It's pretty much impossible to kill him once he goes berserk, so if you're not able to take him down within the 4-minute time frame, I would highly suggest not bothering. Anyways, there's also another special thing regarding Hota, or Hotat, whatever the name is, and that is if both party members die at the same time, he will recover his HP to full. Now, the thing about that is if you're good with iframes and reading moves and stuff like that, it's not actually that hard to pay attention so that only one of your party members is alive. As you can see, I'm just dying constantly. However, this is also, I'd say, 50-50 on purpose, because as you can see, Hota has basically this armor up, so he's not CCable. However, my X Soul Vortex, which is a Doomblade skill, is still able to pull him and keep him in place. So actually dying a few times as a Doomblade in order to recover your full X Gauge is not such a bad thing, because as you can see, once he starts running around, he gets quite annoying, and that was a sideways slash, which just tends to one-shot me. If you're actually behind his back, you're relatively safe in terms of dodging him or not getting hit, but at times he just likes to turn around left and right, so that's not that easy. Other than that, once again, it's not necessarily a hard boss. He really only has two tricky moves. One move is where he basically jumps around and does 3 moves. As you can see right now, he stomps the ground 3 times. You can dodge it by jumping, but if you're not good enough with the AD spam, it's kind of annoying. And all of these steps causes this flame blue pillar to erupt, and sometimes he calls his horsemen, but generally that does not happen very often. And I know this was kind of a bit of a cheesy run, but as you can see, we did it with like 30 seconds left. You have the timer at the top, so there's that. And yeah, this also pretty much concludes my guide in terms of Shattered Table. I know I did not explain all of the moves, all of the mechanics super well, so I'm sorry about that. But as I said, this is pretty much how I do Shattered Table. I don't really pay too much attention to it. I just whittle through and bash through. So here, just like the other ones, a quick note or a quick rundown. At the start, dodge his jump, get him below 6k HP bars if you're in a party. If you're solo, I suppose it's like 3k HP bars, I don't exactly know. Then let him enter his second phase where he mounts onto his horse, and after that, fire all you have. Use everything you've got. You have 3 minutes or 4, I don't exactly know what the timer is. You see it at the top of the screen though, so be sure to pay attention to that. And just fire away. Keep in mind that you only have 10 resurrections per party, So what we always do, or what we always did, was we simply reset the run before we entered his room. So we cleared the first 4 rooms, and then we maybe died like 3-4 times, so that means we only have 6 reses left. So we both decided, let's just reset, so we have 10 reses, so there's as little chance as failure as possible, and we just re-enter the dungeon with 10 resurrections going, and just hammer away at the boss. Anyway, this is all about Shattered Table. I hope this may help some people in order to figure out some of the mechanics, maybe understand a bit more about the dungeon. Maybe you just want to see it because you're not able to clear it yourself. As I said, this is not for new players, unfortunately. This is not something you're going to be doing very early into the game. I mean, even I still have a lot of trouble in this dungeon, and my gear isn't actually bad. Sure, I've seen, I think, 2-3 people with 300,000 CR, so these are like way ahead of me, but I'm steady at 190,000, so this is also a number majority of people will not reach anytime soon. So keep that in mind. Shattered Table is simply not for new players. You do have to have the right gear in order to be able to clear it. Other than that, if you have any questions, anything else you want to know about Shattered Table, feel free to hit me up, and I'll gladly provide you with more information once I have it.